Welcome to Chapter 11 of IMC 412, Information, Communication, and Society. In this chapter, we will explore how information and communication shape human interaction, influence society, and drive social, cultural, political, and economic change. This topic is important because information and communication are part of our daily lives, whether we are studying, working, or using digital platforms. By the end of this chapter, you should be able to understand the basic concepts of information, communication, and society. You will also be able to explain how information and communication influence changes in society, including culture, politics, and the economy. These learning outcomes will help you understand the role of information in modern society. After completing this chapter, you will be able to explain the meaning of information, communication, and society. You will also understand how information and communication influence culture, politics, and economic activities. Most importantly, you will be able to recognize how information shapes everyday decisions and social relationships. Information communication refers to the process of sending information from one person, group, or system to another. This information may be in the form of words, images, sounds, symbols, or digital content. For example, when a weather update is shared on television or a warning message is sent through a mobile phone, information communication is taking place. Information communication includes the methods, channels, and processes used to deliver messages. Methods refer to how the message is prepared. Channels refer to how it is delivered, such as face-to-face conversation, printed notices, television, or social media, and processes refer to how the message is sent, received, and understood. Effective information communication means that the message is clear, accurate, and timely. When information reaches the right audience at the right time, people are able to understand the message and respond appropriately. For example, clear instructions help people complete tasks correctly, and accurate news helps the public make informed decisions. Overall, information communication plays a vital role in decision-making and knowledge sharing, helping individuals and society function smoothly and effectively. Information communication does not happen by chance. It involves several key components that work together to ensure a message is successfully shared and understood. First, we have the source of information. This is where the information begins. The source can be an individual, a group, an organization, or even a system. For example, a news agency, a public announcement board, or a person giving instructions all act as sources of information. The reliability of the source is important because it affects how much people trust the information. Next is content creation. This refers to the process of developing and organizing information into a clear and meaningful form. Content can be created as written text, images, videos, or audio messages. For example, preparing a public notice, creating a short video message, or writing an article all involve content creation. Well-structured content makes information easier to understand. The next component is encoding. Encoding means transforming information into a form that can be communicated. This includes choosing words, symbols, language, or visuals. For example, using simple language instead of technical terms helps ensure the message is understood by a wider audience. Poor encoding can cause confusion even if the information itself is correct. After encoding, the information is sent through a channel of communication. The channel is the medium used to deliver the message. This can be printed media, spoken communication, television, radio, mobile messages, or online platforms. Choosing the right channel is important because different audiences access information in different ways. Then comes transmission. Transmission is the actual act of sending the message through the chosen channel. For example, broadcasting a message, sending an email, posting online, or announcing information over a loudspeaker all involve transmission. Successful transmission ensures the message reaches the intended audience. Once the message is sent, it reaches the receiver through reception. Reception occurs when the receiver gets access to the message. This depends on factors such as internet access, device availability, attention, and timing. If the receiver cannot access the channel, communication fails even if the message was sent correctly. Next is decoding. Decoding is the process where the receiver interprets and understands the message. The receiver translates the encoded message back into meaning. This depends on language skills, background knowledge, and context. Misunderstanding often occurs at this stage if the message is unclear or unfamiliar. After decoding, feedback may occur. Feedback is the response given by the receiver to show whether the message is understood. This can be verbal, written, or even nonverbal, such as actions or reactions. Feedback helps the sender know if the communication was successful. Another important component is storage and retrieval. This refers to saving information for future use. Information can be stored in files, databases, archives, or digital platforms. Stored information allows people to retrieve and reuse knowledge when needed, ensuring continuity and reference. Finally, there is noise and interference. Noise refers to anything that disrupts or distorts communication. This can be physical noise, such as background sounds, technical problems like weak signals, or psychological factors such as stress or assumptions. Effective communication aims to reduce noise to ensure the message remains clear. In summary, information communication is a structured process involving multiple components. When all components function properly, information can be shared accurately, understood clearly, and used effectively in society. Information communication is a basic part of everyday human interaction. People communicate to share information, give instructions, express ideas, and understand one another. Without communication, it would be difficult for people to cooperate or function together in society. Information communication is important because it allows information to be sent, received, and understood. For example, people use communication to share news, give directions, or explain how something works. When communication is clear, information can be used correctly. In the digital age, communication has changed greatly due to technology. In the past, information was shared mainly through face-to-face conversations or printed materials. Today, information can be shared instantly through mobile phones, messaging apps, websites, and social media. This change has affected how information is shared, understood, and used. People now receive information faster and from many sources. Because of this, it is important to understand how information communication works so messages can be interpreted correctly and used wisely in daily life. Information communication is a basic part of everyday human interaction. People communicate to share information, give instructions, express ideas, and understand one another. Without communication, it would be difficult for people to cooperate or live together in society. Information communication is important because it allows information to be sent, received, and understood. For example, people communicate to share news, give directions, or explain how something works. When communication is clear and accurate, information can be used correctly and effectively. In the digital age, communication has changed greatly because of technology. In the past, information was mainly shared through face-to-face conversations or printed materials. Today, information can be shared instantly using mobile phones, messaging apps, websites, and social media. This change has affected how information is shared, understood, and used. People now receive information more quickly and from many different sources. Because of this, it is important to understand how information communication works, so messages can be interpreted correctly and used wisely in daily life. Information communication plays an important role in how society functions. It helps people share knowledge, build relationships, make decisions, understand different cultures, and stay connected as a community. First, information communication supports knowledge sharing. People share knowledge when they explain ideas, give advice, or demonstrate how something works. This sharing of information helps people learn, improve skills, and develop new ideas, which contributes to progress in society. Second, information communication helps with relationship building. Clear and respectful communication improves understanding between people. When people communicate well, trust is built and misunderstandings are reduced, leading to stronger personal and working relationships. Third, information communication supports decision-making. People rely on accurate and timely information before making choices. For example, instructions, announcements, or reports help people decide what actions to take. Good information leads to better decisions. Information communication also promotes cultural exchange. Through communication, people learn about different beliefs, traditions, and ways of life. This helps create respect and appreciation for diversity within society. Finally, information communication strengthens social cohesion. By sharing messages, ideas, and goals, people feel more connected and work together more effectively. This sense of connection helps build strong communities and a more united society. Information communication consists of several key components that work together to ensure a message is successfully shared and understood. The first component is the sender. The sender is the person, group, or source that creates and sends the message. Any individual or organization that provides information acts as the sender. Next is the message. The message is the information or idea that is being communicated. It may appear as spoken words, written text, images, symbols, or digital content. The next component is encoding. Encoding is the process of converting the message into a form that can be transmitted. This includes choosing suitable words, language, symbols, or visuals. Clear encoding helps make the message easier to understand. The message is then delivered through a channel. The channel is the medium used to transmit the message. Examples include face-to-face communication, printed materials, phone calls, and digital media. Selecting the appropriate channel is important so the message reaches the intended audience. The receiver is the individual or group who receives the message. However, receiving a message does not always mean it is understood. This leads to decoding. Decoding is the process where the receiver interprets and makes sense of the encoded message. Understanding depends on language ability, experience, and context. Finally, feedback occurs. Feedback is the response from the receiver back to the sender. It indicates whether the message has been received and understood correctly. Feedback helps confirm that communication has been effective. Together, these components form a complete information communication process that supports clear and effective information sharing in everyday life. Information and communication play a powerful role in shaping how society thinks, behaves, and responds to important issues. Through media and communication platforms, ideas and messages can reach large groups of people and influence public understanding. One important role is shaping public opinion. Mass media and digital platforms influence how people view social, environmental, and political issues. They do this by deciding which topics are highlighted, how issues are explained, and which perspectives are emphasized. For example, news coverage about climate change can affect how seriously people view environmental problems and whether they believe action is necessary. The way information is presented can shape public discussion and attitudes. Another important role is cultural exchange and integration. Information and communication allow ideas, values, and traditions to be shared across different societies. Through digital platforms, people can learn about cultures beyond their own and become more aware of diversity. A clear example is the global spread of K-pop through social media and online platforms. Music, videos, and fan communities shared online have introduced people around the world to Korean culture, language, and fashion. This shows how communication technologies help cultures connect, influence one another, and become more integrated in today's global society. Information and communication also play an important role in political life. Communication channels are essential for political discussion, public awareness, and voter engagement. Through communication, political ideas, policies, and messages are shared with the public. In modern society, social media has become a powerful communication tool in politics. Political messages can be shared quickly and widely through platforms such as videos, posts, and online discussions. These platforms allow people to access political information, express opinions, and take part in public debates. Social media is also used to mobilize voters. It helps encourage people to participate in political activities, such as discussions, campaigns, and voting. Because information spreads quickly online, political messages can reach large audiences in a short time. A well-known example is the political campaigns of Barack Obama in 2008 and 2012. During these campaigns, social media was used to share messages, connect with supporters, and encourage public participation. This shows how information and communication technologies can influence political engagement and shape public debate in society. Communication theories help us understand how communication works. They explain how messages are sent, received, and interpreted. One of the earliest ways to explain communication is through linear models. Linear models describe communication as a one-way process. This means the message flows in a straight line from the sender to the receiver, without feedback. The sender sends the message, and the receiver receives it. One well-known linear model is the Shannon and Weaver model. This model explains communication as the transmission of a message from a sender to a receiver through a channel. The focus is on how the message is sent and whether it reaches the receiver. For example, a recorded announcement or a broadcast message follows this one-way communication pattern. Another important linear model is Harold Lasswell's model. This model explains communication by asking 5 key questions. who says what, in which channel, to whom, and with what effect. This model helps us analyze communication by focusing on the message, the medium, the audience, and the impact of the message. In summary, linear models are useful for understanding simple, one-way communication, especially in situations where feedback is not expected. However, they do not fully explain two-way or interactive communication, which will be discussed in other models. Interactive models explain communication as a two-way process. Unlike linear models, interactive models include feedback, which allows communication to flow back and forth between people. This means communication is not just about sending messages, but also about receiving, responding, and understanding. One important interactive model is Wilber-Schramm's model. This model highlights the role of the receiver and the importance of feedback. According to this model, communication is successful only when the receiver understands the message and responds to it. For example, when someone speaks and the listener replies or asks a question, feedback helps confirm understanding. Another related model is the Osgood-Schramm model. This model views communication as a continuous and cyclical process. In this model, people take turns being the sender and the receiver. Messages are constantly sent, received, and responded to through ongoing feedback loops. Interactive models are useful because they reflect real-life communication, where people usually respond to one another. They help explain conversations, discussions, and exchanges where understanding is built gradually through interaction. This diagram shows the general information communication model, which explains how communication happens between people. Communication begins with the sender. The sender is the person or source that wants to share information. Before sending the message, the sender goes through a process called encoding. Encoding means choosing the right words, format, or style to express the message clearly. For example, the sender decides whether to use simple language, images, or short messages. The message is then sent through a communication channel. The channel is the medium used to deliver the message. This can include text messages, emails, online chats, video calls, phone calls, or forum posts. Choosing the right channel is important because it affects how well the message is received. As the message travels through the channel, it may be affected by noise. Noise refers to anything that interferes with communication. This could be technical problems, unclear wording, distractions, or misunderstandings. Noise can reduce the clarity of the message. On the other side is the receiver. The receiver gets the message and goes through decoding. Decoding is the process of interpreting and understanding the message. This depends on factors such as language ability, experience, and context. Both the sender and the receiver have their own context. Context includes background, knowledge, culture, and situation. Different contexts can affect how the same message is understood. Finally, feedback occurs. Feedback is the response sent back by the receiver to show understanding or reaction. Feedback helps confirm whether communication has been successful. Overall, this model shows that communication is not just sending a message, but a process involving encoding, channels, decoding, context, noise, and feedback working together. The Invisible College refers to an informal network of scholars and researchers who share ideas, knowledge, and research with one another outside formal institutional structures. This means that collaboration does not only happen through official meetings, organizations, or published work, but also through personal connections and informal communication. The term invisible college was first used in the 17th century by early scientists who exchanged ideas through letters and discussions. Even today, the concept remains relevant, although the methods of communication have changed. Instead of letters, people now communicate through emails, online discussions, digital platforms, and collaborative networks. The Invisible College shows how information and communication play a key role in the creation and sharing of knowledge. Ideas are often shared informally before they appear in books, reports, or official publications. Through discussion and exchange, knowledge is refined, improved, and expanded. This concept is closely linked to society because the knowledge produced through these informal networks often contributes to real-world understanding and progress. Research ideas shared within invisible colleges can influence innovation, professional practices, and problem-solving in society. In summary, the Invisible College highlights the importance of informal communication networks in advancing knowledge. It shows that communication and information sharing are not limited to formal systems, but also grow through relationships, collaboration, and continuous exchange of ideas. Research on digital preservation focuses on how digital information can be kept safe, usable, and accessible for a long time. Digital materials such as documents, images, videos, and databases can be easily lost or damaged if they are not properly preserved. Researchers in information science study the best practices and technologies used to preserve digital materials. Their goal is to make sure that digital information can still be accessed and understood in the future, even when technology changes. One important area of research is metadata standards. Metadata helps describe digital materials, making them easier to find, manage, and preserve. Without proper metadata, digital information may become difficult to locate or understand over time. Another area of research involves repository systems. Repositories are systems used to store, organize, and protect digital content. Researchers explore how these systems can remain secure, reliable, and sustainable in the long term. Researchers also study the role of artificial intelligence, or AI, in digital preservation. AI can help organize large amounts of digital data, detect errors, and support long-term preservation strategies. Overall, research on digital preservation highlights the importance of information communication in protecting knowledge. By preserving digital information, society ensures that valuable knowledge and resources remain available for future use. In an invisible college, communication happens in an informal and flexible way. Researchers do not rely only on official meetings or formal publications. Instead, they communicate through everyday channels such as email conversations, workshops, and online forums. Through these informal communication channels, researchers are able to share ideas more freely and quickly. For example, they may share unpublished research findings, such as early results from experiments or initial observations. This allows others to give feedback and suggestions before the work is formally completed. Researchers also exchange insights about tools and technologies used in digital preservation. They may discuss how certain systems work, what challenges they face, and how improvements can be made. These shared discussions help researchers learn from one another's experiences. In addition, communication within the Invisible College supports collaboration. Researchers may work together to develop shared frameworks or guidelines for digital preservation policies. By communicating regularly, they can align ideas, improve practices, and create solutions that are useful beyond individual projects. Overall, communication is the key element that connects members of an invisible college. Through informal exchanges and continuous interaction, knowledge is refined, strengthened, and shared, supporting progress in digital preservation and information management. The work of an invisible college does not only benefit researchers, it also has a direct and meaningful impact on society. One important contribution is enhancing access to cultural heritage materials. Through collaboration and knowledge sharing, researchers help preserve and provide access to digitized materials such as manuscripts, photographs, and historical documents. This allows the public to learn about history and culture more easily, even without physical access to original materials. The Invisible College also supports government initiatives to preserve historical records and public data. Researchers contribute expertise that helps protect important digital records, such as official documents and public archives. These efforts ensure that valuable information remains available for future generations and supports transparency and accountability. In addition, the work of these networks contributes to knowledge management practices in organizations. By sharing best practices and developing preservation strategies, researchers help organizations manage information more effectively. This improves how knowledge is stored, retrieved, and used in decision-making. Overall, the Invisible College plays an important role in society by preserving knowledge, improving access to information, and supporting long-term information management. Through communication and collaboration, research networks help ensure that information continues to benefit society as a whole. The relationship between information, communication, and society can be understood as a continuous and connected process. First, information is the main driving force behind invisible colleges. Members of these informal networks focus on creating new knowledge, refining existing ideas, and sharing useful information. Their goal is to improve understanding and develop solutions to important issues. Next, communication acts as the vehicle that allows information to move from one person to another. Through communication, ideas are exchanged using personal networks, digital platforms, and collaborative activities. Without communication, information would remain isolated and could not be shared or developed further. Finally, the knowledge produced through information and communication has a strong impact on society. When research and ideas are shared, they can be applied to real-world situations. This helps address social, cultural, and technological challenges and supports positive change. The societal value of this knowledge reinforces the importance of invisible colleges. It ensures that the information created and communicated is meaningful, relevant, and contributes to social progress. In summary, information creates knowledge, communication spreads and improves it, and society benefits from its application. These three elements are closely connected and continuously influence one another. An invisible college has several key characteristics that explain how it functions and why it is effective. First is informality. Interactions within an invisible college are not formally regulated or structured. Members communicate freely without strict rules, official meetings, or fixed schedules. This informal setting encourages open discussion and idea sharing. Second is shared interests. Members of an invisible college are connected by common academic or scientific goals. They are interested in similar topics or problems, which motivates them to collaborate and exchange ideas. Another important characteristic is knowledge exchange. There is a strong emphasis on the free flow of ideas, data, and expertise. Members openly share insights, feedback, and experiences to improve understanding and research quality. Invisible colleges also involve collaboration beyond borders. Members may come from different institutions, countries, or academic disciplines. This diversity brings different perspectives and strengthens innovation. Finally, trust and reputation are essential. Relationships within the network are built on mutual trust and respect. Members value each other's expertise and contributions, which supports honest communication and long-term collaboration. Together, these characteristics explain why invisible colleges play an important role in knowledge creation and information sharing. Invisible colleges are highly significant in the field of information science because they support how knowledge is created, shared, and applied. One key significance is knowledge dissemination. Invisible colleges allow members to share tacit knowledge, which includes ideas, experiences, and insights that are often not written in formal publications. This informal sharing helps knowledge spread more quickly and effectively. Another important significance is research impact. Through invisible colleges, people from different backgrounds and areas of expertise work together. These interdisciplinary collaborations encourage creativity, problem-solving, and innovation, leading to stronger research outcomes. Invisible colleges also support digital transformation. Advances in digital communication tools have expanded how these networks operate. Online platforms, messaging tools, and virtual collaboration spaces allow people to connect easily, regardless of location. This has increased the accessibility and reach of invisible colleges. Overall, invisible colleges play a vital role in information science by enhancing knowledge sharing, strengthening collaboration, and supporting innovation in a digitally connected world. Printed media are one of the traditional forms of information communication. They involve information that is recorded on paper and shared in physical form. Printed media have played an important role in preserving and spreading knowledge over time. One common type of printed media is books. A book is a set of printed pages bound together inside a cover. Books are used to share detailed information, stories, and knowledge on various subjects. Another type is magazines. Magazines contain articles, stories, and pictures and are usually published weekly or monthly. They often focus on specific topics such as lifestyle, news, or entertainment. Manuscripts are written records created during earlier historical periods. Many manuscripts are rare and endangered, and some are preserved in museums and temples. They are valuable sources of historical and cultural information. A research report is the outcome of a scientific or systematic investigation. Its purpose is to present findings, explain methods, and share results with readers or audiences in a structured way. Journals are published regularly by academic institutions, organizations, or commercial publishers. They contain articles written by experts and focus on research and scholarly discussion. Finally, newspapers are printed publications sold daily or weekly. They provide news, advertisements, and articles on topics such as politics, crime, business, art, entertainment, and sports. In summary, printed media remain an important channel for information communication, supporting knowledge sharing, record keeping, and public awareness. Non-printed media refer to forms of information communication that do not use paper. Instead, they rely on electronic, digital, or audiovisual technologies to store and transmit information. These media allow information to be shared quickly and widely. One example of non-printed media is the compact disc, or CD. A CD is a portable storage medium used to record, store, and play back audio, video, and other digital data. It allows information to be accessed repeatedly without printing. Another important medium is radio. Radio uses electromagnetic waves to transmit sound messages over long distances. It is commonly used for news, announcements, music, and public information. The Internet is one of the most widely used non-printed media today. It is a global telecommunications network that connects computers and devices using cables, satellites, and wireless connections. Through the Internet, information can be shared instantly using websites, online platforms, and digital services. Television, or TV, is another non-printed communication medium. It is used to transmit moving images and information, either in black and white or in color, together with sound. Television is widely used for news, education, entertainment, and public communication. A tape recorder is a device used to record and replay sound using magnetic tape. Although less common today, it played an important role in recording audio information in the past. Finally, film is a non-printed medium used to produce photographs and motion pictures. It uses light-sensitive material to capture images and has been widely used in photography and cinema. In summary, non-printed media use technology to communicate information through sound, images, and digital formats. They play an important role in modern information communication by enabling fast, wide, and dynamic information sharing. In conclusion, information and communication play an important role in shaping how society functions. Through different communication models, media, and networks such as the Invisible College, information is created, shared, and applied in meaningful ways. Understanding how information communication works helps us become more aware, responsible, and effective users of information in everyday life. Thank you for your attention, and I hope this session has helped you better understand the relationship between information, communication, and society. Thank you.